All right, today's lesson's on angles and angle measures. To start with, go ahead and pause the video and work on this problem of the day. And then, like I said, pause it, and then after you try them, come back and check your answers. So go ahead and pause the video, and then you can come back and check your answers after that. All right, so here's the answers for the problem of the day. Again, just check them, make sure you're correct. This is stuff from yesterday. All right, so we're going to move on. The objectives for today are to classify angles as acute, right, obtuse, or straight. We're also going to identify complementary and supplementary angles, and we're also going to calculate angle measures. Okay, for angles and angle measure, this symbol right here is used to designate an angle. So that symbol right there designates an angle. Any angle can be read or named two ways. The angle at the right can be named angle ABC or angle CBA. The vertex is always the middle letter. So again, your vertex is right here. That always is the middle letter. So that's always the middle. Sometimes angles are named by one letter or one number. So in this case, the first case here, angle 1 and angle 2, they just write the number in the middle of the angle and call it angle 1 and angle 2. Same thing, they can use letters to do this, angle A, angle B. Again, when they do that, they will just write the letters in the angle. And the last part there, the basic unit of angle measure is the degree. Okay, and we put the little degree symbol there. You should remember that from yesterday. Okay, classifying these angles. Okay, an acute angle. It's a little acute angle. It's between 0 and 90 degrees. So there's an example of an acute angle. A right angle is exactly 90 degrees. Okay, to be a right angle, it has to be exactly 90. An obtuse angle is between 90 and 180 degrees. And a straight angle is exactly 180 degrees. And the reason it's called a straight angle is because it is a line. A line is a straight angle, so the measure of a line is 180 degrees. Okay? So if you need to pause the video and kind of take a look at those, you can go ahead and do that. Otherwise, we are going to move on to the next slide. Okay, next slide talks about adjacent angles and vertical angles. Okay, adjacent angles. They have a common vertex and a common side. So if you look at angle BAC, so BAC, if I trace that angle, it says it's adjacent to angle DAC. Well, if I trace DAC, okay, notice that these two angles are adjacent because they share the side and they share the vertex. So right here you can see they share this stuff right here. They have a common vertex and a common side. Okay, over here, angle A and angle B, well, here's angle A, and here is angle B, if I trace angle B. Well, they have a common vertex here, but they do not have a common side, so that makes them not adjacent. One way to think of adjacent is to think of it as they're next to each other, okay? So I might say that if I was sitting right next to somebody, I would say they are adjacent to me. So if you look at angle BAC and angle CAD, they are right next to each other. Okay, the other type of angles we have are vertical angles. They are opposite pairs of angles formed when two lines intersect. Vertical angles have the same measure, and that's why vertical angles are useful. So as you can see here, angle A and angle B, so angle A right here and angle B right here, they are vertical angles. Okay, they would have the same measure. the same could be said for angles C and D. Okay, angle C, angle D. Okay, they have a common vertex, and they are across from each other. Okay, so they're opposites. So A and B are vertical angles, C and D are vertical angles. Again, they are across from each other. They have the same angle measure. So what I mean by that is if I knew that angle A was 20 degrees, I would be able to say that angle B is 20 degrees because angle A and angle B are vertical angles, and I know that vertical angles have the same measure. Okay, moving on. So we have this. We give them that angle A is 20 degrees. We need to find the measure of angle B, angle C, and angle D. Okay? If you'd like to pause the video and see if you can figure this out and then go ahead and check it, feel free to do that. Okay? Otherwise, here we go. We know angle A is 20. Because angle A is 20, I know that angle B has to be 20 degrees as well, because A and B are vertical angles. Okay? Now, to figure out C and D, if I look here, angles A and angle C, they make a straight angle. So they have to be 180 degrees. All right, so like I said, angle A and angle C, they're going to add up to 180 degrees. So if I were to take angle A, there, angle A plus angle C, that would equal 180 degrees. Well, I know angle A is 20 degrees. So all I need to do to figure out angle C is subtract that 20. And I get that angle C is going to equal 160 degrees. Okay? So angle C is 160. So that means that angle D is also 160 degrees because C and D are vertical angles. Okay? Okay, so if you need to pause to get all that, go ahead and do that. Okay, next slide's here. Angles and angle measure. If the sum of the measures of two angles is 90 degrees, the angles are complementary angles. So complementary angles just mean that the angle measures add up to 90 degrees. So they can be adjacent angles like this first set where we've got a 60-degree angle and a 30-degree angle, or they could be two separate angles like this 45 and 45. Both would be complementary. So complementary adds up to 90. The other sets of angles you can have are supplementary angles. Supplementary angles add up to 180. Okay, so again, they could be two separate angles like this 45-degree angle and the 135. If I add them up, they'll add up to 180. They could also be two adjacent angles like this 120-degree angle and 60-degree angle. They could add up to 180. Okay, now the way that I remember complementary and supplementary is, if I go ahead and put them in alphabetical order, I would do complementary first. Supplementary would come second. Again, this is if I were to put these words in alphabetical order. Now, if I put 90 and 180 in order, 90 would come first, 180 would come second. So complementary goes with 90, supplementary goes with 180. Okay, that's a good way to keep those two straight. All right, moving on. Some guided practice here. It says classify each angle as acute, right, obtuse, or straight. So this first one, Now again, if you'd like to pause the video and then try these on your own and then come back and check your answers, perfectly fine. I'd encourage you to do that. Okay, so if you want to pause the video right now, go ahead. Otherwise, here we go. Okay, this first one, 180 degrees, that's a straight angle. 57 is less than 90, or it's between 0 and 90, that's an acute angle. This one's exactly 90, this is a right angle. Okay, the next one, it tells us that S is 50 degrees. Okay, well, if I know that S is 50, I know that Q is 50. Now to get angle R, okay, so remember angle R plus angle S, you could do T and S or you could do T and Q as well. Either way, it's going to work the same. But if I add those together, I'm going to get 180. Well, I know S is 50 degrees. So again, if you just subtract the 50 from the 180, you'll get that angle R equals 130 degrees. Well, if angle R is 130 degrees, that means that angle T is 130 degrees because R and T are vertical angles. Down here, which ones are complementary and which ones are supplementary? Okay, remember, complementary has to add up to 90 degrees. So the 32 degree angle and the 58 degree angle are complementary because they add up to 90 degrees. Okay? 32 plus 58 equals 90. Okay, supplementary, the 122 degree angle and the 58 degree angle are supplementary. Okay, again, because they add up to 180. If I take 122 plus 58, that's going to equal 180. All right, so you should check that. If you're all done with your note sheet, what you need to do is go ahead and show that to a staff member in the room so they can check it off, and they will give you this homework to complete. Keep in mind that activity 104 is 1 through 12 only. Okay, so that means you can cross off numbers 13, 14, and 15 on activity 104. Good luck.